Hello, everybody. Hello, as people begin to come in piece by piece. Thank you for joining the Power of Prayer call today with Reverend Robert Brzezinski and Humanities Team. We typically start these as people come in bit by bit. We like to start this with reading the 5 Steps to Peace. And this is an excerpt from The New Revelations, A Conversation with God by Neil Donald Walsh. So, the 5 Steps to Peace. The peace will be attained when we, as human beings, permit ourselves to acknowledge that some of our old beliefs about God and about life are no longer working. Explore the possibility that there is something we do not understand about God and about life, the understanding of which could change everything. Announce that we are willing for new understandings of God and life to now be brought forth, understandings that could produce a new way of life on this planet. Courageously examine these new understandings and, if they align with our personal inner truth and knowing, enlarge our belief system to include them. Express our lives as a demonstration of our highest beliefs rather than as a denial of them. So that's the 5 steps to peace. And Annette, I'm not sure if you want to come in here, but welcome, Reverend Robert. Thank you for being with us.
Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So good to be with you.
And as we get situated, Reverend, would you like to maybe start us with some sort of just introductory prayer to get us on the...
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
So for each one within sound of my voice, I invite each one to take a moment to set aside the hustle and the bustle of the day and come to know the one. Come to know that one power, presence, and intelligence called God. That one wellspring of absolute truth and harmony and beauty and love and light. The one overflowing abundance of prosperity and health, wealth, well-being. I recognize and I feel the vibration of this one power moving through all life, moving through my life, the lives of each one that's on this call, those that are organizing and making this possible, those listening live here in this moment, those listening at another time in perhaps another space. I recognize all of that as part of this oneness. And so I know there is a great revelation that is happening here this day. I know there is a deeper understanding of God's operation and how to operate with God. I know there's a deeper sense of healing and wholeness that emerges through this experience. And I know that's happening for each one present to this experience. So I am in a place of absolute gratitude, knowing that God's on the job here today. That this power and presence and intelligence is moving and having its being as everyone here today. That there are miracles happening here today. For all that and so much more, I am absolutely grateful. And I express that gratitude by releasing this word into that law, that one ever active law that has already said yes and know that it is complete. And I affirm that truth by just saying, and so it is. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you,
Oh,
Reverend.
hey, and look at that. Just like church, you close your eyes and pray, and when you open, there's more people in the room. I love it.
That's right. So thank you, Reverend. And Annette, I know you wanted to bring something in here.
Well, I was just going to welcome everybody to the call and tell them that we are getting ready to get started. And I will start reading prayer requests here in just a moment. And welcome Reverend Robert, and thank you, Christine, Dee, and Tim, for helping out with the call. We had a little technological glitch here at the onset, but I think we're okay. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the request, unless Robert, you'd like to add anything else?
I think it's time to let's get praying. Yeah.
Let's get praying. Okay. This is from Coco, and this person wants us to pray that all mankind awakens to the light of our Creator within.
Ah, yes, 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 yes. So I sink into that presence, into a knowingness of the presence. Knowing the one presence called God is in and about and through and all around at all times, could never be absent. And so I know that oneness is operating through my life, through Coco's life, operating through the words that each speak, operating as the revelation of truth that is revealed through my words and through Coco's words. So I know that the prayer that Coco speaks, the desires she expresses for all humanity to awaken to its magnificence, to awaken to the light within, is an absolute prayer as it is even thought. I speak this word for myself. I speak this word for Coco, for each one that's listening that may join in that energetic vibration and say yes to an image, a vision, a revelation of humanity awakening to its own magnificence, awakening to its own light, the light of God. And I know that as this vibration ripples out across the cosmos, it cannot return void. It must return fulfilled, and in fact is already manifesting as the expression and the truth and the experience of God's life here on this planet. So I am grateful to know that all this has happened and so much more. Grateful to know God's got this one and that it's already happening. Humanity awakening to its spiritual magnificence, the light and the love within, and pouring that forth. And so it is.
Our next request comes from Judy, and she wishes that we would pray for her daughter, Michelle, who's 41, for metastasized breast cancer, that she be open to elevate the frequency and enhance the effects of all her treatments. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Mm. And so I turn within and I find within that blueprint of perfect health, perfect body temple. And what I know is I know that God doesn't make mistakes. I know that the power and the presence and the intelligence, the oneness of life doesn't make mistakes. And I know that within the body temple, there is a divine blueprint of absolute perfection. I know that blueprint exists in my body. I know it exists within Judy's bodies. I know it exists within Michelle's body. And so I speak a word here, activating that perfect blueprint for Michelle in my own mind, activating an image of Michelle as that perfect expression of God, whole and complete, nothing missing, nothing absent, nothing wrong. There is no dis-ease in the mind of God. There's a sense of ease and grace, and we call that forward this day. I call that forward for Michelle. I claim for her an experience of knowing that at the deepest level that there is that perfection revealing itself. And as she moves through this health experience, I claim for Michelle a sense of playfulness, a sense of transcendence, a sense of moving beyond, a sense of knowing that regardless of the form, God animates her body. And her body temple is absolutely perfect. That her body temple is moving through this healing process right now. I claim for, at the same time, for Judy, a sense of peace around Michelle's experience, around the journey that Michelle moves through in this time. I claim for Judy that sense of knowing as well, that there is something revealing itself, even when not able to know, even when not able to see, to trust, to be in that place of absolute faith that there is a great magnificence revealing itself through Michelle's life this day. So peace all around. Peace and a deep sense of calm, of knowing that at the core of it all, this is God operating as Michelle's body temple. This is God operating through and as Judy. This is God's experience, and we get to be witness to it. And we get to affirm the truth that is desired. To stay in that mental atmosphere of absolute perfect body temple. And all is well. So I am grateful to vibrate at this in this energetic way, to be the revelation of words that God speaks into this circle, knowing that this vibration is multiplied again and again and again for Michelle's benefit, and all is well. And I release the word into the law that in fact has already said yes. And I affirm the truth by just saying, and so it is.
Thank you, Reverend Robert. As I see, we have a multitude of requests for Australia, earthquakes, plane crashes, and other events going on around the world. I thought you might want to do all those right up front so that people that are hoping to hear those prayers answered, we can do them right now if it's comfortable for you.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
And see, what I know for sure is I know this giant ball of gas and rock and molten lava and everything else that's floating through this concept called time and space. What I know for sure is I know that this planet Earth is an expression of God. And I recognize God as the allness of everything, to the very edges of the universe and beyond. God as the known and the unknown, the space and the space in between the space, the thing and the no thing, the Alpha and the Omega, the allness of allnesses, the I am that I am. And so I recognize that planet Earth must be a part of all of it, must be a divine expression of God, must be an expression of God's body floating through time and space and expressing itself. Then therefore there must be a divine pattern from within that is revealing itself. And as I know intellectually that fires and floods and volcanoes and earthquakes and all the natural stuff that happens on this planet is the creaking and the getting a little older, and it is the natural expression of God's body as planet Earth. And so I know that regardless of the appearances, there is a divine pattern that is playing out across this entire planet today, yesterday, every day. The release and the acceptance, and the creation of newness, new earth, new islands. See, what I know is I know God is forever taking on form in order that it may abandon that form and take on new form. God takes on a form and has an experience and an experience that informs beliefs and opportunities, and then lets go of that form in order to take on new form. I know that happens at the level of our planet as well. So I know that despite the appearance of destruction, there is truly a vibration of newness, of resurrection, of expression and expansion that is happening across our planet. And just as there are these internal experiences, there are the external experiences, mechanisms and airlines that crash, and places where people lose their lives, helicopters, viruses, whether created by the hands of man or called a natural disaster, the harrowing experiences, the heart-wrenching experiences, I believe are there to open us to something different, to something newer, a deeper sense of love, a deeper sense of compassion, a deeper recognition of health and wholeness and oneness, and how everything across this entire planet is absolutely tied together. So where there is a virus, I claim healing. Where there is a death, I claim compassion and love. Where there is sorrow, I claim healing. And where there is that giant question, why, I claim healing. I claim a deeper sense of trust and knowing that God's got it. That all of this is one cosmic play of love and light and truth revealing itself as the world, as planet Earth, and everything upon it. And so I recognize planet Earth as a microcosm to God's macrocosm. One, a drop in the ocean of God's planets across the universe. And at the core, I know all is well. Because I know it could be no other way. I know all is good because all is God, and it could be no other way. So I'm grateful to speak the word, to feel this vibration, but mostly to cast this word into the collective consciousness of humanity and affirm that it is so, that it is done, that God's got it, I can let it be, and I know, and so it is. Thank you, Nanette.
Thank you. Okay, I am going to, excuse me, there's a little bit of noise in my background, but I'm trying to make sure it's as quiet as possible. Okay, so now we have uh, Dear Reverend Robert, I participate in the monthly prayers and want to contribute to the well-being of the people and the planet, and I'm working on this as I can. But I have psychological and body illness. Please pray that in spite of all my health problems, I continue or contribute to the humanity. I don't want to live without purpose, and my purpose, my life theme, is to work with others for the better world. Also, please pray for Nicola to overcome his health problems and give contributions to the world. In the end, please pray for members of my family and friends that also have health problems. We have Maja, that's Maja, and we have Sasa, which is Sasa, Renata, and Luca. And he thanks you very much.
And the original requester's name?
Oh, sorry, Ariana. She
Ariana.
thanks you very much.
Ariana. Okay, gotcha.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Mm. And so again, I allow myself to slip into the stillness, into the oneness, into a deep sense of connection with all life. For it is in this moment I recognize the power of God moving as my life, moving as all life, especially moving as Ariana's life. For I recognize the power of prayer that moves through my life, moves through her life as well. I hear in her request the words of the prayer that is already being spoken, is already active in the mind of God. Health and healing for herself, for her family, for all of the inhabitants of this planet. And whether that healing happens at a physical level, a mental level, emotional level, at a spiritual level, whether we're healing the pain body or the unknown body, there is a great and powerful healing that is available to all, and that healing is activated through the power of the word, through the power of positive affirmation, through the power of prayer. And so I speak this word and I claim for Ariana a deep sense of knowing that despite the appearances of her life, despite the fact that she's moving through her own healing process, she remains at the center of the healing of each one around her. And so her vibration, her affirmation of absolute health for herself and for her family, Nikolai, Maja, Sasa, Renata, Luca, all expressions of the oneness, all living and breathing and available to touch that divine blueprint of perfect health. And I sense in Ariana's words and in her message that deep sense of knowing within herself that all this is already true, that all this is already happening, that she has the power to activate the one, that she has the power to activate this divine blueprint of perfect health for herself, for her family, for those around her. And in this moment, as I speak this word, I claim for each one of these dear souls a sense, a feeling of the vibration that is being cast out into the universe right now. I invite each one that hears these words to join in this sacred expression, this sacred experience of prayer, and raise the vibration, a vibration of belief. Raise up and believe. Ariana is already healed, is already whole, as are all the members of her family. Nikolai, Baja, Sasa, Renata, Luca, each already whole, complete, and perfect in the mind and in the eye and in the expression of God's life. For each is a divine expression of God's life. And so I claim for each a deep sense of knowing that anything unlike God's life is cast out, set aside, and is no longer necessary. Any belief in dis-ease or disorder is cast aside, for there is no dis-ease in the mind of God. There is that sense of ease and order, of organization and growth and expansion, and I claim all that for Ariana and her entire family. Because what I know is we are activating an energetic vibration of love here today. God's love for its own creation. And God would not set aside its creation. God embraces, nurtures, activates, and heals. And so here today we tap into that vibration, into that truth, into that knowingness, and bring that forth into our own lives. And all is well. And all is well because it all is God. So I am grateful for this opportunity, for the reminder of this truth, most especially grateful to know God's got this. So I get myself out of the divine circuits, get myself out of the way, and let God do what God does. Express itself perfectly. And so it is.
Amen. Thank you, Reverend. We have a live request from Ellen, so I'm just bringing her into here. Ellen, let's see as she joins us. Ellen, you're on here. Feel free to share your prayer request with Reverend.
Thank you so much. I live in Madison, Wisconsin, and I'm 67 years old. Well, I'll be 67 next month. And I had hip pain on my right hip for all of November and all of December. And in January, just about 10 days ago, they thought it was soft tissue or a tear in the labrum, but it turns out it's a fracture. And so I've been walking around on a fractured hip for 2 months. And, but the underlying process, it was a stress fracture from probably doing things at the gym and having to move my apartment all at the same time. And so now I'm on crutches and it's feeling better, and I think it's starting to heal. The underlying process is some osteoporosis of the hip. So I'm grateful that it wasn't like a complete break of the hip. It's more like a crack at the top from the stress. And but I've had to be off of, I'm self-employed, and I've had to be off of work for 3 weeks, and I'm hoping to be able to return. And I feel like, the rest of me is completely healthy. My diet, my spiritual life is healthy, my family life, everything. But now I have this structural ill condition, and I'm having this, and I feel two things. I have felt like this was a spiritual task for me to, that saying in the Bible of having to walk through the eye of the needle. This isn't about being a rich man, but it's about needing to really go through the eye of the needle where only God is in my life, and kind of essentialize rather than run around so much, I guess. But I do need to work, and I would like for this hip to heal so that I can walk again normally. But I feel like that this is a call from God somehow to be very like narrow in my focus, like be essentialized to where only God is, whether I'm at work or whether I'm in relationship, talking with in relationship or in my own life, to kind of slow it down and hone it in. And that on the spiritual, I think that's the lesson here. But I really would like prayers that the hip itself, the solid manifesting hip, does heal, and I'm able to walk and resume life, but not resuming perhaps doing too much.
Right.
I think I've just turned a corner into a new phase of my life where I can't do and be everything like I was before, and I need, like I said, just to stay in the eye of the needle is what it feels like.
Right.
That's what it's been feeling like to me.
Great. Yeah, I got you, Alan. Beautiful. And thank you so much for being with us. Thank you so much for being willing to turn on your camera and join us in the room here. And what I know is there is this collective, this amazing collective consciousness of individuals right here on this call at this moment, listening here now live, listening in later at another time, and that each one brings forth a unique expression of God. Each one is expressing God in a unique and wholly unique way, in a way that can never be repeated, that can never be duplicated. And so what I know is I know Ellen's life to be exactly that, an unique divine expression of God, a one-time event on this planet, never to be repeated. And I know the world, the planet, would be a much, much lesser place without Ellen, without the expression that she brings, without the gifts and the skills and the talents and all the goodness that she brings to the world. For those are expressions that only she can bring. That unique balance, that unique mix of skill and gift and talent and inspiration and intuition, all of that is expressed through Ellen's life, and it really could be no other way. And so in this divine moment, what I know of Ellen, what I know for Ellen, is that there is a power operating through and as her life in every aspect of her life: physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, in work life, in her relationships. And that at this point in her life, I affirm, and I've heard this in Ellen's prayer, at this moment, this experience she's moving through right now is a time to slow down, allow the healing to happen, and have a more deeper, intimate, real experience and relationship with God. An opportunity to be in that place of listening deeply for God's call. That place of absolute and trust, that place of absolute trust that all the financial obligations and opportunities are taken care of, that the work will happen, the money will come in, everything in the temporal world, everything out there in the physical world is coming together in a unique way to allow for Ellen's spiritual growth. And the structural healing of the bone and the body temple, that's all taking its time, but that's happening. And you can't stop that. You can't stop that healing. Once that healing takes hold, once that energetic vibration of healing and regrowth and regeneration takes hold, you can't stop that. That's God already on the job. That's a done deal in God's mind. That's already moving, and there's already a plan and a prescription in place to move all that forward. And so I claim for Ellen a deep sense of trust and knowing that the slowing down allows for a quickening of the heart, a quickening of the relationship with God, a quickening and a deepening of her experience of oneness here on this planet. So there is an opportunity, there is a new phase developing here, an opportunity to focus in on the love of God, the love of with God. How to express God's love into the world in a more profound, a more meaningful way than ever before. how to be love for all to see and all to experience. There is this newness that's emerging through Ellen's life. I can feel that energetic, and I can't name it. I can't just say exactly what that all is, other than it is Ellen's truth. It is that unique combination of gifts and skills and talents taken to a new degree, taken to a new phase, taken to a new way. And still, it is all God. Every part of it, every moment, moment by moment by moment, every doctor's visit, every hospital bill or insurance claim, every piece of paper that goes along with all this, it's all God. So I just give it all up to God. I claim for Ellen that same experience, a deep sense that no matter what is presented, an opportunity to take a step, take a breath, and recognize here too is God. Supporting her life, supporting her experience, supporting her giving and sharing those gifts and skills and talents. So at the end of the day, there is God. And I claim for Ellen a deep, meaningful, deep and meaningful relationship with God, with the One. For it is her very breath, it is her very thought, it is the very power and the very essence of her being on this planet. And I know this world would be a much, much lesser place without her. So I know there is good emerging. I'm grateful to experience that, to be a conduit of the reminder of that truth. Most especially grateful to get out of the way and let God do what it does. Expresses the wonders of humanity as Ellen's life. All is well. I affirm this truth by just simply casting the word into the law that has already said yes, and I affirm it by saying, and so it is.
Thank you
Mm-hmm.
very much, Reverend. And now we have a prayer from Joe. Please pray for Robert that he till he gets suitable work for his qualifications. With many thanks, Joe.
Mm-hmm. So I speak this word for Joe, and I speak a word for Robert, and I claim for each a deep sense of knowing, a deep physical experience of knowing that there is only one real thing happening. That is an expression of God's great abundance on this planet, an expression of God's great gift giving itself to this planet. And what I know is I know both Joe and both Robert have these unique gifts within to give. And so I know that each, all around this planet, so many, we all give those gifts through the work, through that daily experience of exchanging energetic vibrations for physical dollars, for the vibration of money and welfare and wealth and well-being. And what I know is I know at the background of that, it is all God, and God's expression on life is an everlasting flow of abundance. There is no lack in the mind of God. There is Robert having his share of income and money in no way lessens the flow, lessens the supply. There is more than enough for everyone across this planet to live an absolutely prosperous and abundant life. So I claim for Robert a sense of knowing that the right work is already available to him. The right job for Robert already exists. I know this truth. There's already a divine expression of God in the name of employer, in the form of a job that's looking and seeking for Robert and the unique gifts that he brings. And so as I know that each of these two expressions of God are searching for each other, I claim for Joe a sense of peace and understanding and a deep sense of assurance that everything's happening just as it must. That the right work is finding Robert and Robert's finding the right work. And as that energetic dance plays out, that there is a sense of peace and calm in the center of it. A deep sense of knowing that God's got this. That nobody need get concerned or worked up because God's on the job. God's already working on this. It's already a done deal in God's mind. The perfection is foreseen, and it is right now. And by the power of this word, we are activating a quickening in Robert, in Joe, that each may affirm and stand in the truth of knowing that this is a done deal. Robert's next job is there. Bang. As close as the very next breath, already published in the paper, already published on a website. It's there. And so I claim a sense of attraction between Robert and this new position. And I know God's got it. So with a grateful heart, I release the word, I let it go, I let it be. And so it is.
Amen. Thank you, Reverend. We have another live request. We have Shari or Shuri. And let's see as you get on camera what unfolds here. Shari, you're on if you'd like to speak your request. Sometimes these are accidental things where somebody doesn't know they raised their hand. Well, maybe we can get back to you, Shari, if you would like to come back. Nanette, do you have a written request for us?
Yes, I do. This one is from Phyllis, and she says, I am bleeding and so anemic. I need internal bleeding to stop so I can be active again with energy. Thank you.
So I speak a word for Phyllis. I bring to mind an energetic vibration of love and light and healing and truth and the power of God, and I cast that into the ethers, knowing that wherever this light travels, it travels to Phyllis. And I recognize within Phyllis that divine blueprint of God's perfect body, God's perfect health, and God's perfect life. I claim for Phyllis a deep sense of knowing that there is a healing happening within her, that by the power of her own thought, by the power of her own belief, she and I collectively, and in this whole collective consciousness that we are creating here today, there's this opportunity to activate the powers, the energies, the vibrations of absolute healing within her body temple, and to bring her body temple back into a sense of equilibrium with the flow of blood and the blood pressure, and the way any sense of deficiency in her bloodstream. There's a healing happening here. I let go of any sense that there is anything wrong with Phyllis. I let go of any belief that there could be anything wrong with Phyllis, because I know Phyllis to be a divine expression of God's life. A unique one-time event on this planet, expressing God's life and living life, the one life, living as that one life. So I claim for Phyllis that same sense of casting aside any disbelief in the perfection of her life, casting aside any doubt or belief that there's anything wrong with her life, that there's anything broken or misaligned in her life. There is no deficiencies in the mind of God. There are no deficiencies in the body of God. And I know Phyllis to be an expression of God's body, a body of God. And I claim for Phyllis this deep commitment to say yes to God's deep calling to express the wholeness, the oneness, the uniqueness that is her life. To express the uniqueness that is her life. I claim for Phyllis a deep, deep sense of healing. Healing the internal and allowing that to shine into the external. I claim for Phyllis a deep sense of activating the power of prayer again and again and again, and reaffirming for herself again and again and again that God's got this. That she can follow the callings of God, and that God is right now leading her, whether it be through the advice of doctors or nurse practitioners or holistic or whatever it is, to listen deeply to God's voice. guiding her to that sense of wholeness, to that experience, to a deeper experience of oneness and absolute health, perfect health. That is the truth I claim this day. I cast this word into the law that is God's active action on the planet. I cast this word into the law and I trust that it is done. So I let it be. I let go and I affirm that all is well, all is God, and this is so. And so it is.
Thank you. This next request is from Joan, who is healing from surgery.
Yes. And I speak this same word for Joan, and I claim for Joan an extension of this vibration that we are right now creating, this vibration of healing, of healing the body temple. It is swirling about the collective consciousness of this group right now, and I invite each one to focus in on dear Joan, knowing that wherever this power, this presence, this witness, this affirmation is present in the world, that it is present everywhere, that this vibration of healing operates everywhere across the entire planet and beyond. That everyone that lifts up their voice and says, yes, I believe, yes, I affirm, yes, I recognize and I empower this oneness of God to operate as my life, all that, and then it's all that. To bring forth a deep sense of knowing that all is happening just as it must. And so I claim that for Joan this day, a deep sense of knowing that everything up to this point has been exactly perfect. Everything from this point forward will be exactly perfect. That everything is happening just as it must to support her in sharing her gifts, her life, in sharing, in fulfilling the mission she is here to complete on this planet. And so as Joan also takes this time to physically heal from the invasion of surgery, I claim for her a deep, deep knowing that that healing is happening both at the physical level and that an internal healing is happening that is out picturing into her world. Whatever that might be, I claim for Joan a sense of trust and faith and knowing that God's got it. And she may rest easy knowing God's got it. So I let it be. With a grateful heart, I release the word and I let it be. And so it is.
Thank you. And our next request is from Maria. Hi, my name is Maria. I'm a 33-year-old female who has been suffering from severe lower back pain, herniated discs on L5 and S1, very sad, depressed, stressed. I don't know what else to do. I listened to all the YouTube videos from Dr. Bruce, I'm going to guess Lipton, trying to understand how I can heal myself. But I find myself crying and focusing on in the pain I experience. I'm asking you to please pray for me. Thank you for your time.
Yes. Oh, dear, dear Maria. See, what I know is I know Maria to be a divine expression of God. I know it could be no other way. I know that the power and the presence and the intelligence of God is operating through and as Maria's life, moment by moment by moment. That the allness of God, the magnificence of God, is operating as and through her very heartbeat, through her very breath. And that whatever may be the cause of the back pain right now, I claim that as a false belief. Any belief that Maria or I may have around anything other than a picture of Maria's absolute perfection, I cast all that aside. There's nothing broken within Maria. There is nothing wrong. There are no hernias within Maria's body. This truth I know, because I know God is operating as Maria's body, and God has that power to instantly and effortlessly heal that itself. And so with Maria's vibrational and energetic permission, with Maria's affirmation of yes, I know this healing is already occurring, that there is already a vibration of love and light and healing that is operating, that is vibrating, that is moving Maria's body temple right here, right now. It moves her to listen to Dr. Bruce. It moves her to write these requests. And so I know that the power is within Maria to move her thoughts to thoughts of absolute perfect health, absolute perfect healing. A life free from pain, for pain is not the truth of God. God does not experience pain. God does not know pain. Pain is a mental and an emotional structure created to call us into a deeper experience of love and a deeper experience of healing. And so I know that the pain is there for Maria in her human life, and yet I invite Maria to cast that aside for this one moment and to feel the truth of God, to feel that a vibration of renewal and inspiration, to feel the body temple sizzling with absolute truth. That there is one life, that life is God's life, that life is perfect, and I know that life as Maria's life right now. And so I claim for Maria that same knowing, the deep knowing that her life is a vibration and an expression of God's perfect life. And as she aligns with that belief, as she aligns with that truth, then the physical expression must line up, and in fact will line up and is already lining up. Even as I speak these words, there is a vibration and an alignment of truth that is right now happening in Maria's mind, in her body temple. I claim for her the power, the strength, the willingness to know, and the deep commitment from within to maintain that vibration. To in the face of the pain, in the face of the doubt, in the face of the depression, to say, no, get behind thee. I am an expression of God, and I am whole, complete, and healthy right now. That's the truth. I am whole, complete, and healthy right now. So I personally, Robert, am in this place of gratitude to once again speak these reminders, to once again open the doors of opportunity here for Maria to step in and say yes and claim her own healing and claim the truth of God as her truth, and to know that all is well. And so I am grateful for this opportunity, for this chance to vibrate and to radiate and express God's truth. But most especially, I'm grateful for Maria. And I'm grateful to know that she's got it, that she's got the power to heal, and she uses that for herself. So all is well. I am grateful for this. I let it be. I let go. I let God be God. And so it is.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Our next request comes from Anna Maria, who says, please, can you pray for my health to be greatly improved? This is very much like very similar to the one you just prayed for. I'm in constant pain and would really appreciate help and support. Kindest regards, Anna Maria.
Yes, 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 yes. See, what I know is when we send out, as that vibration of healing is being radiated out from this collective consciousness, from this collective body that's here on this call, as we all join together and raise up that vibration of healing, then the healing is happening everywhere. And so the healing is happening for Anna Maria as well. And the words and the words that are spoken are secondary to the vibration that is created, a vibration of belief in the perfection of God's life expressing through and as everyone on this call that's made a request for a healing, everyone that has made a request and hasn't been heard on this call, everyone everywhere is moving through this experience of healing in a uniquely individual and a unique way. And I recognize Anna Maria's healing is happening through the body temple right now. The vibration is already cast upon, is out there. This energetic vibration of healing is already happening throughout, radiating out from our spaces right now. And so collectively, it just gets directed over towards Anna. We bring a mental image of this dear soul known as Anna and say, there too is God. There too is the perfect healing. There too is a perfect body temple. And as Maria raises up and says yes to that truth, yes, I am that. I am that. I am that perfect vibration of health and wealth and well-being. I am that vibration of pain-free, of absolute perfection in the body temple. As each one steps up and says, I am that, then that I am. And God's got it. And God's manifesting. And God's having its way as our lives, moment by moment. I am that I am. All is well. I am perfectly healthy, whole and complete, nothing missing, nothing absent. I am the very picture of God's perfection on the planet Earth, and I know that same truth of Anna Marie, of all that have claimed for health this day. Maria, Phyllis, Joan, Robert, everyone. An experience of profound health, knowing that I am whole and complete with nothing missing and nothing absent. So with a grateful heart that I recognize this truth of Anna Marie, I release this word into the law that is saying yes, and I let it be. I let go, I let God be God. And so it is.
Our next prayer request comes from Patricia, who prays for the end of political and social violence, that vandalism in Chile, and for liberty and democracy in Venezuela.
Yes. Oh. And there's that little voice that says, you should have done this in the beginning. And I cast that aside, for that's not the truth of God. I cast aside that voice of doubt, that voice of questioning, recognizing that there is a perfection that has revealed itself here this day through this entire call. That no matter what the agenda said, no matter what anyone's idea of what this was supposed to be or could be, or whose prayers would be heard and whose would be, I cast all that aside. And I come into a deep knowing that there is an absolute perfection revealing itself moment by moment throughout this entire experience. That the right people at the right time, the right prayer request, the right everything has happened throughout this entire call. And that is, in fact, the very nature of life. The very nature of living on this planet is that everything's happening just as it must, that everything's working just as it must, that there is this grand and glorious concert that is right now coming together in affirmation of the grand and glorious expression of life on the planet, life as my life, as the lives of each one on this planet, making these requests, that are hearing these words, that there is this grand and glorious masterpiece that is being painted moment by moment. And we are each brush strokes and the brush. We are each the painter's hand and the paint. And so that each one has the opportunity and the power to cast a prayer into that cosmic soup that always says yes, into that law of life. And so that no matter what's happening across our planet, in our politics, in the search for democracy, or the rebelling against democracy, in the embrace of socialism, or the revolution against it. Whatever is happening, there is a divine order that is emerging. There is a divine expression of evolution that is happening. a grand and glorious spiral that is forever spiraling upward, evolving upward and outward as it goes, bringing humanity to a greater experience of itself, to a greater experience of its own ability, its own possibility. I speak this word for Patricia, that as she sees the injustices and the perceived injustices on this planet, that she too is right now moving through that evolutionary process of expanding upward and outward, that she is right now traveling along that spiral to bring forth a new expression of human consciousness, human expression on the planet. One of liberty and truth, one of life and freedom, an expression of God's life. What I know is I know God's life is there somewhere in the political questions, in the turmoil of the political across the planet, everywhere. There is this question of how to experience and express God more deeply. And what I know is I know that answer is as close as the very next breath, because I know that answer is God. That is, as each one turns to a deeper, more committed, individual, intimate relationship with the divine, then God reveals itself through all. And so the end of social violence, the end of political violence, it all is rooted in love. Love is the answer. Love is the way. Love is the truth. And so I claim for each one here, I claim for Patricia and each one here that says yes to this idea of peace and compassion, love and light and beauty, to recognize that happening through the political system wherever you may live, to recognize that happening through the social system, and that anything we perceive as unjust is God's calling for us to get involved. To stand up and say yes, just to be the expression of God's love into those places that appear unlovable or appear absent of love. To be the voice of reason where it appears reason is absent. To be the voice of and the hands of justice where it appears there is not. For the appearances are not the truth of God. The truth is the love and the light and the freedom and the truth. And I claim for each one here an experience of being just that. Whatever it is God calls being that in the world. Oh, I feel so very filled to overflowing with truth, because I know the truth has been spoken here this day, and I know the truth has been heard here this day, that each one that has heard these words at some point over this last hour, at some point, the word of God struck. And the word of God inspired, and the word of God uplifted, and the word of God reminded, and the word of God was yes. Yes, love. Yes. And so that's it. That's all I got. I'm filled up with gratitude, filled up with truth, filled up with a deep, deep knowing that God's on the job and God's got this, so I can get myself out of the way and let go, relax, and marvel at the magnificence of God's expression in, as, and through my life. All is well. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All is well. I release this word and I let it be. And so it is.
Thank you, Reverend Robert. Would you like to do a quick closing announcements, and then I'll just make a general goodbye when you're finished?
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you, dear ones. I appreciate you being here with us today. I will be back again next month. I'm going to drop a couple of links in the chat box. The first one is to my general mailing list. And this is one of the greatest ways to just get in touch with me, stay in touch with me, and have an idea what's coming up for me. And if you'd like to connect with me beyond this, you're welcome to. I will say that I'm involved in a really, really cool experience. A friend is doing what she calls a meditation gift away. And it's a whole bunch of meditations as a gift given away. It's going to start in a couple weeks here in February, and I'm not allowed to tell you about it until the 7th of February. So if you jump on my mailing list, I will make sure that you get an invite and get the information on how to get involved with that. It's a whole bunch of great meditations from a whole bunch of great people, most of which you've probably never heard of. But I tell you, collectively, we're putting together a great thing. And I have a really fun meditation I'm working on called A New Vision that I'll be happy to share with you when I can. So jump on that first list and I'll make sure you get a message. The second link that I'm going to drop in there is a list. So Adriana just asked of all panelists. So again, that first list gets me on the first link. Can't see the links. Oh, I see why. My bad. Okay, let's go backwards. This link will get you on my daily spirit callings list. Daily spirit callings is a daily email and a daily podcast that I've been producing and sharing for going on 10 years now. It's a great way to start your morning. The podcast takes no more than 90 seconds to 2 minutes at the most, and you can read the email if you like as well. Be aware, it's called Daily Spirit Callings. You will get a new email every single morning, 3 o'clock Mountain Time, 5 o'clock Eastern. And there's the first link I was talking to you about. Thank you, Christine. I appreciate that. Christine says it's a great way to start your day. Thank you. And then the next link, Robert_16.gr8, that is my main mailing list, and that's the list that'll make sure you can get involved with the meditation giveaway and all the other fun stuff I've got coming up. Internet radio station for all the positive people in the world. I'll talk more about that in another time, but thank you for the opportunity, Nanette. Christine, Tim, thank you so much for supporting and helping. It's great seeing you all. I know we ran a few minutes over today, but oh, this is so much fun. I'll give it back to you, Nanette.
Thank you, Reverend Robert. As usual, you do a beautiful job. You can really tell your heart is very much into this. And we will, I will send you on the probably half dozen or so requests we didn't have time to get to.
Yes.
And just so you know, Reverend Robert prays for the requests that don't get read aloud throughout the month. And I want to thank Reverend Robert, obviously, and Christine Glenn, who's like my understudy, co-study, so that when we have technological issues, we can trade off. I appreciate Christine being here. And thank you, Tim, for being doing the production of this gathering. Really appreciate it. So we will meet again next week or next month on February the 26th. It's a short month, although it's a day longer than usual. But we'll see each other on February 26th, same time. Information through your email. So thank you, everybody. God bless.